Live here at Slowly Read Studios. We got to say goodbye to this corner, this little piece, this little stretch of space that I have inhabited for most of my little YouTube career here, guys. So yeah, bittersweet to be saying goodbye to the space, but I'm sure the new one will be even better. Not yet. I have yet to actually step foot there, so we will see. So far, it's looking good, though. It's looking good, Jimmy. I'm hoping so. It'd be really nice to have my own creative space. For those that don't know, this is literally just the corner of my my house that gets really noisy, so hinders the process quite often. Jimmy, did you finish the Great Ordeal? I'm still reading it. I've been really busy though. I've been packing. Well, my wife's been doing most of the packing. If I'm being honest, she's been kicking a lot of ass while I've been just trying to do what I can. Yeah, you finished and your brain hurts. Yeah, it's the most just bonkers shit. It definitely makes you think. Like I said, it took me a minute. I was just couldn't stop thinking about it though. It really haunted me. Great book. Yeah, it was insane. Yeah, it was an amazing book. Shit, we already got 14 people. Well, sweet. Yeah. Well, right on, guys. Yeah, I just wanted to do this before, I pack up everything because it's got to get packed up. So I wanted to shoot one more deal and just kind of, bullshit, do whatever. The girls are with grandma in Copper Center already. They're starting their first day of school. So it's pretty quiet here right now. Little Romy is in bed, sleeping, taking a nap. Sunday. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can make Sunday. Maybe, possibly, I might be able to do it from my phone. It's gonna be weird. I'm literally leaving here on Saturday, so we'll see how it all goes. But I'll definitely be able to discuss it as soon as I can get set up, man. Word. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about. There's so much to talk about. Dude, the next two books are it's going to be so much fun. Do I have any plans to continue the Acts of Cain? I do. I really do. And it's funny because once again, it seems very split from here on out. There's a lot of it seems like one of those books that flies under the radar, heroes die. But then when you talk about it, the people that have read it really do praise it. But then the ones that went on to read the next book seem very split. There's a very polarizing, opinions. Some say they just, kept digging it. And some were like, oh, this is just not what it was like the original, which I'm not opposed to him coming at it each time from a different angle. I like a fresh take. But so I do have plans. My reading is just so fucked right now, though. With moving and just being busy and being stressed out, to tell you the truth, and just starting to write again. It's just I got so many. I got a lot of irons and fires going. So it's just some things are just not pressing at the moment. So I don't know when I'm going to get back into it, but I do want to continue. I especially like from what I hear, what happens with Harry's character. I'm more intrigued to continue. Really wanting to dive into Morgoth. Okay, yes, absolutely. Guys, I would love for more people to kind of experience that guy's writing. You got to understand too. I mean, he was a dude that was where Tolkien had all this goddamn time that he utilized to create this vast and rich and just an amazing goddamn world, and the stories. Michael Moorcock started developing stuff after that, and it's much more in like the manner of like Howard and Conan, and these stories are more pulpy and shorter, and they are also being written much faster. These are stories did not take 20 years to flesh out and provide to you, so they are amazing fantasy adventures. But sure, I mean, like I said, you'll run into criticism all the time, and I think that you got to kind of try to take yourself out of a certain the modern perspective and put yourself in a little bit of older shoes, and you will enjoy the fuck out of those stories. And Michael Moorcock is a genius, man. He really brought something to fantasy that, like at the time, really bringing the whole multiverse concept into fantasy is a massive deal and should be respected. You have discussed this already, but what's your favorite book of all time? My favorite book of all time. God, that's tough. That's tough. I don't really know. Because I'm kind of moody, it seems like things have waxed and waned throughout the years. I will say that there are some books that are like super, super important to me and would be in contention. I would say the first, at least the oldest one I can think of, would be The Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. That one is definitely up there. As much as it might, if I started really putting if I started tearing all these books apart and critiquing the fuck out of them, putting a real critical eye on them, maybe the Darth Bane books in the Star Wars universe might not, fucking hold up to a whole lot of scrutiny. But I will tell you what, those books meant a lot to me, and they were to me, they're top tier Star Wars books. Some people be like, yeah, but you're still talking about Star Wars books. But I would say The Vampire Lestat, the Darth Bane trilogy, and then you got Prince of Thorns, which is gigantic for me. And then really into Baker's books. I want to put Beyond Redemption on that as well. And I have to add the Silmarillion. I know that's a whole bunch of books, but it's just like a combination. There's certain things that all those books did that just really captured me in ways that I'll never forget. And I just will always have love for them. And I will hold them in the highest regard. Love to read your writing. Yeah, well, I'm working on it, man. I have to admit, when I lost that like a fucking like almost half of the story, it floored me and it fucked me up. And I still think I'm kind of like have residual side effects of that. I am a human, so maybe I'm still grieving and whatever process I'm working through. But I am writing again, and I have to admit, I think what I'm writing now is much better. But it's coming out very slow. I literally, like in 2 weeks, I've written a couple paragraphs, which is not a lot. But what I have written, I really dig. I think that maybe I might have just found a footing to really build off of. And I'm so far, I love writing because I like the challenge right now. Like, it's really cool. Like, as much as like, I'm not sitting here like, oh man, I like, because I overcome the challenge. Sometimes I get my ass whooped. But that's okay. There's something about like creating, and sometimes if it comes out cool, it's awesome. But and if it comes out whatever, it's whatever. But just that process is a lot of fun. It's frustrating, but fun. And I hope, once I'm planning on hopefully having it finished. It'd be nice to have it finished, and maybe I could like self-publish it by some late next year. That'd be the earliest I could think of getting it out. If not, then I imagine it would probably be early 2024. Elric is awesome. Yeah, see, so I'm like, after reading the Corum trilogy, the first trilogy, the Swords trilogy, I'm so excited to get back into Elric. So I'm pretty pumped. I have to admit, like, Elric of Melniboné is maybe not the best Elric book. You know what I mean? It's not like that it's bad, but but it might not be the one that really fucking captures your heart or whatever. I think you got to dig deeper, and that, you know, now I'm like pretty pumped to start digging deeper into Elric. Yeah, I'm not the looking at my shelf. Okay, so Eric says he's looking at my shelf and he's glad he's not the only one with a different size great ordeal. Yeah, that the great ordeal is a great ordeal to fucking find. And it's even a bigger ordeal to find one that matches your set. I think old school readers or the fans that were buying the books as they came out are pretty lucky in that, you know, aspect. But anyone that's getting into it now, just be prepared to, if you have like OCD or whatever, god damn it, I feel bad for you, because it's probably not gonna fucking match. It's not to say it's impossible, but it's pretty fucking hard. And yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm actually at a point in my life now where it's like I really praise digital books, and I know they're not as like fancy and cool, but man, I have found like using my e-reader to be just kind of a breath of fresh air. It's really like helped speed things up for me a lot in some instances. But it's also the most easy, it's just the most accessible way to get books, man. If you can't find, like, a lot of these books sometimes not easy to find, you know, at least the physical copy, but they're extremely easy to find on Amazon if you just get the digital copy. So I do say, you know what I mean? Like something like if people are holding out to read Second Apocalypse for the books to get the right, all matching books, I just like shake my head. I'm like, no, just fucking buy the digital copy. Get the story. Get the fucking story. Just read it. I was holding up, and actually Neil sent me the Great Ordeal, you know, and after reading this whole thing, I was like, fuck, man, I can't believe I was going to drag my feet until I got the, you know, physical copy. Keep writing, Mark. It sounded super intriguing in the last stream. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make it somewhat compelling and intriguing. It's weird when you're like, you start with an idea, so you have no plot really, or you have like an idea for characters. So obviously, it's probably a much more character-driven story. Though I'm trying to kind of put some kind of off kilter cool shit in there as far as like plot for the story. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. One thing, like, is for those that don't know, like the two main characters that I based my story off of, I based them off of like Mickey and Mallory Knox from Natural Born Killers. But then the surprising thing, and this is what I love about writing, is there's another main character, and he was not supposed, you know, in this like just inception of the whole deal, was not supposed to be a main character, was not even supposed to be like anything really besides much more than a write-up throwaway character. But because I really just kind of writing this thing as it like developed, you know, just kind of organically coming together, rather quickly, this throwaway character became one of the most integral pieces of the whole puzzle. You know, he's fucking arguably the main character now. It's crazy. And so it's been a lot of fun. One last hurrah. Are you going to retire from BookTube and live out the rest of your days hunting vampires in the woods? Fuck yes. If this was an option, my answer would be fuck yes. As much as I've always loved vampires and been fascinated by them, I could live out my days as a vampire hunter if that was a real job that I could fucking apply for. Gotta say, you know, I was like Vampire Hunter D has always been a, you know, personal hero and role model of mine. And then, you know, you had that movie Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter or Slayer or whatever. And I gotta say, I'm pretty sure that was all facts. Like that was a true story. Abraham Lincoln really killed vampires. And he became my favorite president. Yeah. So I would love to follow in the footsteps of my forefathers. Make sure to write in dark mode, easier on the eyes, and you are the Grimdark dude, so it's thematic. I probably should be doing that though, just to kind of keep my eyes are shit as it is. I saw that thing with Brian Lee Durfee saying that he's losing his eyesight, and I fucking feel for him because kind of the same. He's probably got it worse than I do, But I've been fucking cursed with horrible eyes since I was a little kid, and it's only gotten worse over the years. My Great Ordeal and Unholy Consult also don't fit. Yeah. Also, I back up everything in Google Docs now. That's a good idea, David. I'm also, yeah, I gotta figure out a way to have like 3 different copies, at all times, just to fucking be safe. I got to admit, every time I like click on the fucking deal, like every time now, I'm just like there's this part of me that like doesn't breathe for a second. It's just waiting to see if like the fuck what I wrote, last night is still there, kind of deal. Ugh. It's like PTSD. Hi, Angela. Even though I bought them as they came out, but I live in Germany and nothing else was available even then. Okay, yeah. So I will maybe just because it being in Germany, maybe. Agree about ebooks, especially for travel. Yeah, I swear, like when I fucking was like running this channel and I was working in Fairbanks, guys, Jesus Christ, I had like an entire like duffel bag full of physical books. It was fucking bizarre. I was just like, this is too much. So yeah, the Kindle became such a blessing because it was all those books right here. So good. And the thing for guys, if you're getting older and you got the fucking shitty eyesight, god damn it, you can make the font as big as you want, guys. That is what was really that was the win for me with the Kindle. I like a bigger font. It just fucking, I feel like I can smoke through what I'm reading, while still, obviously taking it all in, but I can go through it so much faster. It doesn't like, I'm not like struggling to, focus on the lines, like, oh, I fucking went back and read the same sentence again because I've kind of fucking, everything's so scrunched together or so tiny. One of the, like, I love Mark Lawrence's books, but those mass market paperbacks for Broken Empire, those were really tough for me to read just because of how small the print was. Time for you to get Tyrants and Kings by John Marco. You will like it. I think you were just telling me about this. Yeah, you're gonna have to put it on my list. Like my ever-growing list, and I'm getting hit up for arcs and stuff, and it's just like, god damn it, I'm trying to get back to people. If you're somebody who has approached me about reading an arc, just hang tough. I will get back to you. I have a gigantic stack of those things already, guys. Just be warned, it might be forever before I can get to your stuff. But I'm more than willing to, like take a book or whatever, you know what I mean? I just can't guarantee anything. But yeah, if you're waiting on a reply, just wait a little longer because I'm in shit show mode, guys. A lot of shit going on. Have you read any of the Malazan books? Okay, so David Fell asks if I've read any Malazan. I have read Malazan, but only one book. I read Gardens of the Moon. I thought it was fucking kick ass, but it also intimidated the shit out of me. I read it years ago. So this was before I really started to beef up my reading experience, or at least before I started digesting wider scope and more characters, bigger, thicker plots kind of stuff. I liked a more simple, straightforward kind of story. And I would kind of stay in that realm for a long time. And now I have to admit, it's crazy the way I've kind of grown, and I have such a massive appreciation for flowery descriptions, purple prose, dense writing, just shit that I would just run away from in the past. I'm like throwing myself into right now. And it's pretty cool. I have to say though, the one reason why the one thing I haven't really evolved into loving yet still, and one of the things that makes the whole Malazan thing, it's not that it's not enticing, just maybe I drag my feet on it, is because of the multiple perspectives. I'm still not exactly a huge fan of having 1,000 goddamn perspectives. I know that this is something that people really dig because it really helps bring this massive scope and just, it makes everything feel richer because it's just like, oh damn, this is a real world with lots of people living in it, and there's so many different ties, and how do they connect, and it's not necessarily my cup of tea. I don't really like cycling through shit tons of characters. I'd like to spend some time with who like that. I like to spend time with them as much as possible. And I think that's one issue with Erickson and me is just he hits you with a character and then he hits you with another character and he hits you with 3 more and then they're out and then another one and another one and another one. It's kind of hard to know who the fuck is important or not. So I mean, literally, I just kind of like embraced who the characters I thought were cool, which I thought Hairlock was fucking awesome. Bet he would love what's this? Bacalane and Brooch? I don't know. Aaron G. Man, I got some of these books you have slowly based on your spoiler-free reviews. Nice channel, man. Love the enthusiasm. Dude, thank you, Aaron. AJ Indy. Hi, Mark. I bought the Sisters Brothers because of your review, but didn't read it yet. Did you watch the film adaptation? I have not watched the film adaptation. I do know of it. I like the actors that are in it a lot. Actually, I should watch that fucking film and then see how it differs. You ever read Berserk? Yes, I have. I have read Berserk. I packed them up. I've read up to what is it? Like basically like the beginning of the Golden Age. I think it's the Golden Age arc. Is that what it's called? Where where Guts meets Griffin and the crew. See, I've seen the Netflix animes, and that's kind of like where they start. So I've read up to basically where the anime starts, and I have seen the anime, so I don't know if it's close to the manga at all, but I would at least know of the events that happen from, that the anime covers. I know the anime on Netflix catches a lot of shit for its CGI stuff. I'm going to tell you guys personally, I didn't give a shit. In fact, I thought some of those CGI scenes were cool as fuck, but I'm not somebody that, I don't know. I'm not an anime purist or anything like that. I do understand. I was having to ask people, I was like, what's your issue with it? And they're like, oh, well, because it takes me out of the deal. And I'm like, okay, if your immersion's being broken, fair enough. But if it's not happening for me, you know what I mean? I can't say that the fucking CGI sucks. In fact, if it's making me go, fuck yeah, I have to praise it, right? And I liked it. Hello. the Discord noob that just finished Unholy Consult. Yes. Give that man some room. he needs to take deep breaths. Aaron G, hope things are getting better, man. Been signed to your channel for a while. You're an awesome man. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Malazan is more optimistic. He's a more optimistic brother of Second Apocalypse. Okay, cool. I was kind of wondering because you know what I mean? I can't, because of only reading one book, I was wondering how that series ends and how, you know what I mean? If it ends bleak or if it ends fucked up or if is there a happy ending, whatever, man. We'll see, I guess, whenever I finally tackle that beast. My buddy Evan is reading it right now and he's loving it. He's fucking all about it. But he's also somebody I think that likes that multiple perspective kind of thing. That might have been why I also fucking wasn't as huge into Game of Thrones, book 1 of A Song of Ice and Fire. Like, I think I wasn't ready for that book though yet either. I'm almost through The Darkness That Comes Before, and can't wait for the rest. Bought all 7 books while reading the prologue, all because of your review. I like your enthusiasm. All right. Well, gosh, bless you. I hope that you enjoy your descent into darkness. It only gets more fucked up from here. I can say that's a fucking fact. I love that series. I was gonna say it's not for everyone, but goddamn it, there's no book that is for everyone. There's just no perfect story out there. But the way that Baker will hit you with shit, the content, the themes, there's just a lot there that could disturb some folks or just make them not as interested. I've even seen a lot of criticism against Baker where they're like, oh, he's just like this fucking try hard. He's like fucking being overly verbose or just, like, I think you're missing the point here. The guy has created a fucking epic atmosphere that's just hitting me right in the core. Everyone's different. But yeah, cool. If you're already digging darkness in the prologue is dope as fuck. But if you dig darkness, I think that you're in for a ride. It's one of the harder books because it's so political, not as much action. And you're also in all the setup. So you don't know what the fuck, who's important, what the fuck's going on. Baker's definitely not going to tell you all the answers. I've loved Malazan a lot so far. Paused at the start at Midnight Tides. Okay. I'm reading The Darkness. Oh, no, I saw that. Oh, no, that's a different one. I'm reading The Darkness That Comes Before. I'm watching your discussion with Jimmy. I love the first part, but I'm a bit slower with the Emperor part. Love the writing, though. So the Emperor part, I have to admit, I appreciated it. Though it was where it was starting to the story was kind of starting to suck me in because there were certain things being said that felt very philosophical and started to trigger like my thoughts, So it was a part where it began to become more intriguing. But I have to admit, on the second read is where I really appreciate the part with Zarias, the Emperor. He's the god of men, the Emperor there, and because you kind of know who Zarias is at that point. So that second time around, he is one of the most enjoyable characters in that trilogy. And I love it, dude. He's kind of comic relief and for a very, very serious story. And it's without getting too cartoonish. Like it's almost slapstick funny without going all the way there. And you can still believe it because it's this guy who just believes himself to be above everyone. So it is a bit asinine, but it's also believable. What's an anime purist? Yeah, anime. I just mean like the guys that won't allow a stitch of CGI in their shit at all. It all has to be like drawn animation or whatever. I know cats like that, they fucking despise any CGI whatsoever, not just in their anime, in their movies and everything. And I have to admit, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm a big fan of practical effects like over CGI. But I don't, a lot of time, if it's bad CGI, it's fucked. But I mean, a lot of times don't mind CGI. Like some people really don't like some of the Marvel movies because they're so overly CGI'd, where I'm like, I don't know, it fucking looks cool. I'm down. What was it? Ready Player One? Like fucking that entire thing is a goddamn CGI movie, but I thought it was visually stunning. I'm no longer a huge anime manga fan, but in my younger days, the CGI is tough to adjust to since it removes so much detail in the art and moves a lot less smoothly compared to trad animation. So that's a perfect example why people don't like the CGI. And that's a big thing, right? Especially if you grew up on something else and now it's being kind of changed. It's easy to kind of take offense to that kind of stuff because you cherish like the way it is, the way that you grew to love it. You didn't, this new thing, you're like, who's this? Deadhouse Gates is pretty brutal at times. All right. Yeah, I've heard like I said, my buddy Evan's really digging it, and he's kind of cued me in on some of the brutality in those books. I've never been a fan of anime. I thought that Chi was fine. I just love Berserk. That's how I found your channel, because someone said R. Scott Baker's books were like Berserk. So I just started to read them. Okay. I don't know. There are themes, I think, they're very both, because I would say maybe that Berserk is kind of nihilistic. I don't know. I haven't read enough to maybe I'm wrong, but in that manner, they're both They're both very nihilistic. They're both dark fantasy. They're both very brutal. I would say that it seems like Berserk's a more like action though. That there's a lot way more action going on. Not that there's not. That's a weird one. That's a weird. I wonder who said that. Maybe I need to read more Berserk, and then I would agree with that comment. But I have not read enough to really agree. I think there are things that are similar, like as far like I said, there's aspects that you could say are the same. But when really compared to one another, that feels like a very odd comparison to me personally. But both are like Berserk's kind of like the most like the darkest manga I've read, and Baker's like the darkest fantasy I've read. So they could be kind of going off of that. All right. Isaiah says, by the way, should one read Broken Empire and Red Queen's War? I've read about 3 chapters in each so far. Don't think literally reading them at the same time was the plan. Maybe not at the same time. I would probably pick one. Pick one, read it, and if you like it, then go to the next. I think that's the best way to read those is to read book 1, then book 1, book 2, book 2, book 3, book 3, because they are happening at the same time. It's not necessarily like literally you could read just one of those trilogies and not have to read the other one. I just think that they're both really fucking good. So why wouldn't you? But there's nothing in one that makes the other one necessary. And so, I mean, there's either one is a starting point and either one could be an ending point for you. I just think because the cool fact that they are happening concurrently, it is kind of neat to read each book one as they are both happening at the same time. I think that maybe Broken Empire first, Prince of Fools second kind of deal is kind of a more comfy ride in a way because you're getting hit with the more brutal book first and then getting hit with like the comic relief second, which, you know what I mean? So you can kind of depend on old Jalen to kind of bring things back around into a much like funnier atmosphere because George will test you at times. Hello, my minions. Sorry, Mark's minions. Hello, Wilbur. All right. But why no seems kind of silly. I think I'd hate like 90% of what I watch if I hate CGI. Yeah, it's like today's deal. I'm always impressed when people do take the time, effort, money, all that shit to do any kind of practical effects anymore. I think it's cool that they do that still. I think like the Stranger Things Vecna, I'm pretty sure was quite a bit practical effects. Of course, they get in there and they enhance everything with CGI and did shit. But I mean, he was in a fucking suit, makeup, all that shit, and that's awesome. I don't think Berserk is nihilistic, to be honest. The core theme of Berserk, in my opinion, is the struggle and that having merit. It's really philosophically divergent. Okay. Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, and that's another aspect, I guess, that's probably very similar between the two is that they are very philosophical and going to make you think. And maybe even that their theme is not 100% like solid because they're so philosophical. They leave things somewhat open enough to be interpreted into each individual. So you can't really say, oh, it's a tale of nihilism, or because someone might and then another might not. Philosophy is crazy, and I love it, but I also end up just like drowning in questions. I love Prince Jalen. He's the best anti-Disney prince ever. Yes, he is a very anti-Disney prince, isn't he? And I love Jalen as well. Jalen was a very pleasant surprise. I drug my feet on reading Red Queen's War. It's pretty much because I heard that the main character, Jalen, was a coward. I was like, jumping from Jorg to a coward just seemed like an impossible stretch. And I just wasn't interested in following a coward. I wanted a fucking badass at the time, you know. Now I'm like much more like interested in it. And you know, I have to say, I think Jalen's even like a part of that reasoning, like because when you read something that you're like kind of hesitant or apprehensive about, but then it just surprises the shit out of you and proves all of your like possible criticism wrong, you're really like, okay, like I'm more willing to like be open to take a different perspective when hearing about a character, you know, like and what they're like and whatnot. Jalen's so fucking good. He's one of the best at like self-deprecating humor, and that is something I can get on board with. I fucking love it. Stranger Things got me checking out 80s music. I grew up in the 90s. Yeah, so that's cool, man. I think that's what's dope for like somebody like me who did grow up in the 80s. I have to admit that was one of the biggest like lures for me about the show when I first started watching it years ago was that they were really nailing 80s at the, like I feel like they've kind of like here and there they may have strayed, but especially in the fucking beginning, it felt like the 80s, man. It felt like, you know, houses that I had been in, you know, like just living rooms and setups and everything, the bicycles, just the way that the kids were acting and stuff. It was so goddamn on the head. Just bam. That it was over, like just so nostalgic. It was like wearing a goddamn blanket of nostalgia. You just felt warm and cozy. You're like, fuck me, dude. It's just like back in the day. And I, you know, so that's one thing I think that show has just really knocked it out of the park because the 80s are really easy to get wrong because everybody fucking does get it wrong. They're just like, oh, it's the 80s, so we're just going to put day glow colors in there and big hair. And I'm like, look, yes, day glow colors and big hair certainly, you know, made many appearances in the 80s, but that is not at all like the way I would sum it up. That's like a cartoon. That's a caricature of the 80s. The 80s were a fucking caricature, though. Don't be sorry. It's good to be chatty. We're doing a live chat. We need you chatting. I guess I'll be the first then, to be honest. I felt a lot lighter than expected so far. That's probably the post Baker standard though. Yeah. Yeah, I mean anything just reading and maybe I mean there's a lot of stuff that could seem lighter after reading Baker. I know that you can smoke through books after reading a Baker book. All right, Marcus Weber saying the first time I read Berserk, I felt the nihilism really hard, but on the second read, it seemed much more hopeful to me. That's interesting. Was it because you think you had knowledge of what happens later? Oh, I don't know. I'm intrigued. Or was it just that maybe your opinion on it changed? Jalen is too funny not to love. I know, right? He really is. Like if anyone has read like the synopsis or whatever for Red Queen's War, and the one thing you're dragging your feet on is maybe following a coward around for 3 books, I'm going to tell you right now, fucking go for it. Because he's the funniest goddamn coward you will ever read. And just aces. Yeah, and it's cool to be in his head too. That's it. Yeah, it's a first person. So yeah, you're right. Like being in Jalen's head, a lot of fun. A lot of fucking fun. All right, Stephen Burnett. Discovered your channel a year so ago. Glad I did, as Baker's work was always on my radar, but for one reason or another, I didn't get around to picking up the books. Now I am hooked. Yes, bro. So, Stephen, I was kind of same situation. You know, I really dug dark fantasy, darker themes, fucked up stories. These were my cup of tea. But like I said earlier, I really also stayed in this lane of, you know, simple scope or simpler scope, you know, something that's just going to bring me from point A to point B and maybe not fucking give me too much grief on the way, because I just wasn't that experienced of a reader to hang tough through dense books. So it became a very intimidating series, one that I put off for a very long time, one that I just kept reading, putting other books in front of it, only like just purely on the fact that I was like, this will probably maybe get me a little bit closer to being ready to read that one. And maybe I might have went a little overboard in my process and my journey to getting there. But it's a tough ask. It's quite a bit. Like it's dense and philosophical. So it's like you could read a page, but that page might take you a long time because there's so much to think about, so much to ponder on. Like yeah. But at the same time, I love hearing that people finally giving it that go, because I think once you do, if you feel like you're ready, by all jump into that bad boy. It's the deep end of Grimdark. Though I kind of I like to say it's dark fantasy and not Grimdark, but I don't really know what the fuck Grimdark is, just like no one else does either. I haven't read any Grimdark since I finished Aspect Emperor. Where should I go from there? Big fan of Lawrence and Abercrombie, so looking for something in that area. So depending on what you've read, I guess, by Lawrence or by Abercrombie. If you've read the trilogy, but you haven't read the standalones of Abercrombie, like Best Served Cold is one of my favorite Abercrombie books. It's fucking badass. I would highly recommend that one because of the pacing, the characters, everything. Everything's kind of on fire. That one is, to me, that is like that is a fucking just the lightning Abercrombie book, dude. Because a lot of his stuff is a lot slower to me in pacing and whatnot. That one is the easiest to read because of its pacing. And it's a wild fucking ride. It's like a fantasy Kill Bill story. Afternoon, Mr. Silas. How's your leg doing, brother? I saw you broke your fucking leg, you crazy man. Zara, hi. I'm still salty about Dune being an MMO. Yeah, Zara just hit me on my Discord and she was showing this. Dune is getting a fucking video game, guys, and I'm excited. But yeah, a lot of people are not excited because it's like a massive online multiplayer game. So it's going to be like a online survival sandbox game, I'm assuming. Guys, give me 1 sec. Let me go to the bathroom, and I'll be right back. Hold those questions. All right. Okay. I'm back. Let's see. Just keep drinking these bubbly waters. All right. Let's see what we got here. Steven. Baker's prose is perfectly poetic and poignant at the same time. I am there to agree with you, brother. Absolutely. His prose is just, it's very powerful. Sometimes it can be very delivered in these just long running fucking sentences. But I mean, like I said, that's one reason why it kind of takes a minute to read his shit, because it's intense, like what he's throwing at you. It's pretty goddamn amazing, if you ask me. It's the I don't know. If you're like someone who loves the Silmarillion like me, I think the kind of shit that Baker's doing in his books, you'll see it right away, and you're like, oh fuck yes, like this is that shit. This is that stuff that I fucking like. I dig. This is one reason why I really want to get into Gavriel Kay, because I think that he is somebody that's probably gonna hit all those kind of like beautiful writing, just an awesome, powerful prose kind of stuff. I think he might kind of scratch a certain Baker itch, though I know that no one's. It's like, as far like tone wise, I'm pretty sure K is the complete opposite. But if the writing is really good, I'm down. I mean, the Silmarillion has some of the most epic fucking moments, man. Brilliant writing. Josh, still hurts. Sorry, brother. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Let's see. I was wondering what the drain was. I like the color of the can. Oh, yes. This is blackberry bubble water. I'm super addicted to it. Yeah, I got you. Gavriel Kay is amazing. Books with Zara. I'm gonna believe you. I believe in your. I believe in when you say something. Yeah, I'm really like wondering where I want to start. I have Tigana, and I also have. I think I might have the entire Finnevar tapestry. So probably one of those. I know that I think Tigana is a standalone, but everyone says it's not where you want to start. But I don't like listening to people though either, so we'll see. The Silmarillion is your favorite book. Good to know. I'll keep on reading. Yes. The Silmarillion is a brilliant goddamn book. And there are moments and just events that have happened, that happen in there. To me, it was just so heavy hitting, guys. So heavy hitting to all of it, I guess. You know what I mean? Really, goddamn. There's probably some parts that were maybe not as fascinating to me, but there's so much that was. I got into the Silmarillion because I was really I really liked Melkor. I remember getting like this Tolkien encyclopedia deal or some shit like that when I was a kid, where my brother got it from the library. And I remember seeing this picture of Melkor and Ungoliant, and it immediately was like, whoa, what's that? Like, what the fuck who is that? I want to know more about that guy. And that's really what brought me to the Silmarillion. And I struggled with reading it the first couple times. I was too young, not ready to read that kind of stuff. But when I finally did read it later, finish it as an adult, it became one of my favorite books I've ever read. And I understood the problems with it. Like, it's not a tough read, but goddamn, is it beautiful, and some of the best, if not the best, world building in a book, period. I read A Brightness long ago in a day, and it was 1,000,000 stars. Damn! All right, dude. I'm fired up. I'm definitely excited for Gavriel Kay. He's like the writer, right? Like, I've at least kind of tried all these guys, right? And Kay is the one I'm like kind of holding out for, because the only writing of his I've read is the Silmarillion, and I still don't really know how much of that is him or like him just kind of like rolling out what Tolkien already had. I don't know. Gotta go. Keep good all later, Isaiah. You have a good one, brother. I will hopefully see you whenever we get set back up again, which might be a little bit, but it will happen. Jake Bishop has a video about where to start with GGK. Yeah, that's cool. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I don't recommend starting with Tigana. The brightness long ago was great for me, and it's a standalone. Okay, shit. All right. Okay. Good. It's also very chunky. Yeah, it's got to be, right, with the way that when you got that many goddamn words. Oh, it's great. I love Tigana, but I prefer Lions of Al Rasan. All right, Jesus, he's got a lot of work out there, doesn't he? Sauron is a Walmart brand Morgoth. Thank you. Who's this? Cavalier Studios? Cavalier? Oh, God damn it. Thank you for saying that. Sauron is the Walmart brand Morgoth, and Sauron is a badass, so Morgoth is super badass. This is it, guys. I'm not trying to say Sauron's a bitch or anything like that, but it does kind of grind on me when he gets all these fucking accolades. Everyone just talks about how badass Sauron is. And fucking, I'm like, well, what the fuck about Morgoth? Melkor, dude. Melkor is the man. Like, you don't have Sauron without Melkor. Like, you know all those fucking baddies that are running around? Fucking, they're all running around Arda, Middle Earth, and everything. Like, that's fucking Melkor. That's Morgoth, okay? Like, the entire army that Sauron fucking, like, uses to oppose people is fucking made of Melkor, Morgoth. So, get the fuck out of here with that Sauron shit. And the thing is, a lot of people are like, well, Morgoth got his ass kicked. I'm like, okay, let's go over this real quick. Did he lose some fights? Fuck yeah. But the first time he loses, he's fighting like seriously all the fucking Valar. So get the fuck out of here, dude. That's like an angel fighting off all the rest of the angels. And he fucks them up, dude. It's not like he just gets overwhelmed immediately. This is a fucking arduous task for the Valar. Like, they do not have it easy going after fucking Melkor. God damn it, dude. The other one. What's the other one? That's another great example. Was fucking people love to throw this one in there. Melkor versus Ungoliant. Oh, the fucking spider was whooping his ass. And it's like, well, first of all, Melkor still made it out of that alive. Ungoliant is one of the most underrated fucking powerful beings in all of Arda. Okay. Massively underrated how powerful fucking Ungoliant is. Okay. And Ungoliant had literally just drinking the super juice from the fucking trees, making Ungoliant possibly the most powerful living thing on Arda at the time. And Melkor still survives, you know? So kiss my ass once again. And the other one, Fingolfin versus Melkor. God damn it. Okay, this is one of the most epic moments in fantasy history. This is the David versus Goliath moment that is forever etched into my fucking heart. And now a lot of people talk shit about him because, it says like, Morgoth knew fear. And this is when Fingolfin shows up. He's fucking knocking on his door. And granted, Fingolfin is a bad motherfucker, dude. He's knocking on the fucking Morgoth's door, calling him craven and just, calling him out, dude. And people talk so much shit about Morgoth because there's that line was like, the only reason why Morgoth even confronts Fingolfin is because he's being called out in front of his captains, in front of his men. And he can't just like bitch out in front of everybody. Like, so he takes up this thing and it's like, of all the Valar, Morgoth knew, like Melkor was the one that knew fear. And a lot of people take that as, like Fingolfin struck fear into Morgoth. And I'm not saying that he didn't, but the way that is written literally just states that Morgoth, of all the Valar, knew fear. That means that Eru Ilúvatar, when creating them, gave Melkor fear. That's it. Okay? Rant over. I love Melkor, man. I will always fight. He is the epitome of evil. He's just there to fuck shit up because he wanted to be a creator like his father, was pretty much told no, and he got fucking pissed off. A lot of people are like, oh, he's just a baby throwing a tantrum. Well, he's the baby. He is the baby from the God. Like, he was created. Oh, I just got so much love for that black-hearted bastard. He's the fucking ultimate bad guy, guys. He's the best. Let's see. I've just totally ignored the chat there for my rant, so I want to see what you guys say. Cool that the book made me cry twice. Real tough. Grimdark, dude. Started reading Lord of the Ring trilogy. Really makes me want to read the Silmarillion. Seems a lot of the best parts happen in the first age. The first age is where it's at, in my opinion. That is where you're going to get the goods. You're going to find, like, it's the fucking backbone of what everything else is kind of built upon and writing off of. It just, and there's a lot. Obviously, there's more than what Tolkien fleshed out there, you know. I think the second age is kind of just not as, there's not as much, you know what I mean, there. Could have been, but not in the Silmarillion. Melkor versus Fingolfin. That's Grimdark. Yeah, dude, it's literally like, to me, it's like one of the best. Like I said, that's a David versus Goliath moment, but it plays out way more realistic because obviously, fucking, you're talking about like an elf versus fucking Morgoth, Melkor, of Valar, the most powerful of the Valar. So you know. It's an unfair fucking fight from the beginning. But the fact that Fingolfin just takes this stand and he's just like, it's like he's shining with brilliant courage, holding Ringel, his sword, and just fucking cutting Melkor's leg and shit, and dodging Grond, the massive fucking mace hammer deal. Oh, so good. So good. Rings of Power out soon. Will anybody be watching it? I will be. I'm absolutely watching it, dude. I don't, I'm worried. All kinds of worried. This is what I'm thinking, and it sucks that I'm moving, so it might take me a little bit to be able to actually get to do it. I just hope I can do it soon. But what I want to do is I think I want to try to approach that show as far as like content on here as like trying to review it. I'm going to try to do this thing where I kind of I'm going to attempt to split myself in half, where I represent one side as being a Tolkien fan and the other side being just a fantasy fan. I can't really say casual because I've been fucking loving fantasy since I was a little kid, very ingrained in my life, so I can't really, it's not very casual. I'm very, like, it's been a huge part of my heart for most of my fucking life. So I can't say casual, so I will just say just fantasy fan, not attached to Tolkien. So just a fantasy fan reviewing it and a Tolkien fan reviewing it. I have to figure out how I'm going to be able to really separate myself to get those two opinions. But I think it's a fair way to review the show, I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they don't deserve a fair review. It's easy to pile on right now because they're not doing themselves favors by lying a lot, because they did say that they were like going back to the books and doing all this shit. And then like later on, they're like, yeah, well, actually we're not doing that. So it's like, well, what is it? So I don't like being lied to. I live in America and I get lied to on a daily basis by fucking everybody. So I don't need it anymore. All right. I definitely don't want to be lied to when it comes to something like this. And that kind of pisses me off. But I still, regardless, as a reviewer, I want to approach it as unbiased as possible. That's why I'm going to try to separate myself, create just fantasy fan, Tolkien fan, and they will both give you their takes, because I think this is what just my prediction about that show. For Tolkien fans, it's going to be a fucking train wreck, and you're going to fucking hate it, and you're going to talk a lot of shit because it's just not what you read. It's not what you love. It's so far from what Tolkien wrote. It's just going to be a fucking disaster piece. But do I think with all the money and all the fucking shit that they got available, that is it going to be, you know, a fucking sword fighting, flashy magic fucking event? Yeah. And I think fantasy people that are into like fantasy stuff have a lot to chew on and a lot to enjoy there. Like I said, I just think that the Tolkien fans are going to be super pissed off. But I mean, when you see a fucking armored up elf flying through the fucking air with a sword, some people get a little like I know some people didn't like the Legolas shit in in like Lord of the Rings and in The Hobbit. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, there ain't nobody that ate that shit up more than me. Okay, motherfucker, surfing on shields, running up, falling, fucking collapsing stairs on bridges and shit. It's all good with me. So I bet that shit's in this show, and I think that it should be kind of like, hey, look, this is cool. This is cool shit. It's fucking Michael Bay fantasy, you know, high octane, whatever. And then there'll be the Tolkien side of me that'll be like, yeah, that's cool and all, but that's not what the fuck. It sucks. It's garbage. This is you've destroyed that, whatever. I don't know. We'll see. That's the plan for now. Can I read the Silmarillion without having read the full Lord of the? Yeah, absolutely. It all takes place beforehand, so you'd just be doing a chronological thing, really. It is, you got to go into it understanding the best. I feel like the Silmarillion, the reason why it might not be the best to start with is because it's best read when you have a thirst for the knowledge of the world. When you want to know more, when Tolkien's got his hooks in you and you're ready to you want to know the lore, you want to know more about the races and the land and fucking just the history overall because you're that compelled and intrigued about the world he created, boom, the Silmarillion is there on a silver platter waiting to be devoured. Now, if you just go into it expecting an amazing fucking story, you're going to be rather confused because you're starting to read it and it's like, oh, this is like reading a Bible or like a history book. That's because that's basically what it is. But I think when you have the like this context of other shit, you just have a better feel for his world and what he's created. This stuff starts popping off the page in the most epic ways, and you will cherish it and love it. And he has sewed a tragedy like into everything he does that makes it that much more beautiful in my eyes. The Silmarillion is so tragic, and it's making it pretty much fucking perfect. Who do we think is going to win the viewing battles? Rings of Power or House of Dragon? So I did watch House of Dragon the other day. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot. I didn't read the books. I don't know. So I don't know how far they have strayed from source material, but I do know that George R.R. Martin is literally working on the whole deal with them, though. You know, when someone has their name put on something, you still don't really know how in depth they have been involved. Could just be a name being thrown out there to please fans. But goddamn it fucking was cool, dude. Like I saw people like talking shit about how it's boring and it's woke and all this shit. Guys, I'm not trying to have anything shoved down my throat either. But at the same time, like, goddamn it, dude, I had none of those issues. I thought my main issue with House of Dragons episode 1 was some bad wigs. I just thought some of the wigs were bad. That was it. And it wasn't enough to take me out of the fucking story. I thought that it's episode 1. It's not, shouldn't be this like, oh fuck, it's off and running. You got to build up to that. So for those that are saying it's boring, I would say, Jesus fucking Christ, like go watch, I don't know, go watch fucking cartoons or something. Maybe something a little bit more your pace. But I thought it was dope, dude. I thought there was a lot of brutality in it at times. I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for someone that hasn't fucking seen it, but the City Watch roundup, you know, I get there's another scene I will talk about it. You know, I just don't want to say it because it's immediate spoiler. So there's just some shit in there that was disturbing or made me flinch. It made me uncomfortable. And I like that they've done that. That means that they're doing a good job with those scenes. Character wise, I thought they created a couple of cool, compelling characters. I saw a lot of people hating on the Targaryen girl, the like the main character, maybe. I have no issues with this girl. I think that she's killing it. I think she's got a cool little look. I like her facial features for some reason. Just for me, it was like, dude, she feels like she fits in this goddamn world. I dig it. So I'm on board with House of Dragons, which is crazy because it's the one that flew under the radar for me. And right now, I know it's way too early to make the call, but it's looking like the one that I might end up enjoying more, which is nuts. It's fucking nuts because Rings of Power should be such a shoe in, but it's looking dicey. Yeah, people will watch it for the car crash. There's literally going to be. That's why I laugh when people are like, "Oh, no one's gonna watch this garbage." I'm like, bullshit. You're gonna watch it just to chew it apart. Like, so don't tell me no one's gonna watch it. That's just the way the fucking shit is nowadays. We can't agree on anything, but we still all watch the same shit for one reason or the other: to enjoy it or to tear it apart on the fucking internet. So don't tell me no one's watching it. It's getting watched, which I'm going to tell you right now, for all those that are hoping for it to go down in flames, it's funny because they're going to only like boost it up where they want to tear it down. By watching it, you're going to further put it up on the scaffolding. You know what I mean? Like they'll be, oh, well, fucking 20 million people viewed it and you're one of them. I'll be one of them too. I will have to try Silmarillion before I attempt the trilogy for a third time. You know, here's the thing, too. If it's not hitting, it's okay. Doesn't mean, you know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking blame anybody if they don't like the Silmarillion, if they don't, you know, like Tolkien shit in general. It's just definitely, especially today, it's like a style now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that you don't see. Instead of it just being kind of like this is how it was being delivered to readers, you're not seeing a whole lot of Tolkien style writing. You see a lot more like bare bones, a lot more straightforward, it's more digestible prose. But that's also what makes, I think, those books also so kick ass. Is it's also something you just don't see anymore. But that doesn't make them automatically good. Everything's subjective. Books with Zara. The politics in the House of Dragon is going to be sick. Love a good family drama. Dude, I'm super down too. And I also saw criticism about this show because they were saying that why even have the show? Because we already know how it's all going to end. Like we all know it's going to end horribly, like for the family. And we do. But who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck if I know how it ends? Like, I still want to see this shit adapt. Like, even like I want to see it, and I'm sure fans of the thing want to see their books adapted in that kind of frame of mind. Then we shouldn't fucking like make any goddamn movies. Then, right? It's like if there's a book out, you should never adapt it into a movie because we already know how it ends. Or you have to change it so we don't know how it ends. And then now the fandom's pissed off because you're no longer being faithful to the source material. Sometimes these criticisms are wacky to me. I just don't think people think about what the fuck they're saying sometimes when they say it. And I understand because I'm as guilty as that shit too. I fucking pop off with my fucking neck hole. And then 5 minutes later, I go, oh, that was probably a bad move. But at least I try to fucking admit it. You gotta consider where both series are leaving off. Game of Thrones left off a lot of people with anger. Yeah, they are angry. I agree. Game of Thrones fans are pissed. I wasn't, but a lot of them are. I'm like one of the few that's not mad at the fucking handling of the end of the fucking show. I didn't like the very last episode, but I liked, what was it? Is it season 8? The one that's the last season? Everyone hates that fucking season. I had no problem with it up to the very fucking last. At the same time, too, I knew with that being the last season, there was no way they could they could not end it and satisfy people. It was just too much shit to come, like to tie up. And fuck, it was like, oh well, this is gonna be a fucking hot mess. But I enjoyed the hot mess. I think it should have went another whole fucking season. But people will be like, what the fuck? You wanted a whole nother season of hot garbage? I'm like, yeah, I did. Oh man, so I have Bobby's asking, have I read any of the pre-Lord Rings books like the Fall of Gondolin? So I haven't. But like the Fall of Gondolin, I want to read. I have read Baron and Luthien, and I was confused. I was like, I didn't really understand like what those books were all about. I thought they were like a whole nother deal. It is like you got to understand the Silmarillion was built off of like notes and shit, so there are still some of these stories that though the Silmarillion paints it in this perspective, there are still other notes that you could see where Tolkien was like fleshing shit out. So there's more meat to the bones in some of those, from what I understand. Maybe even a different perspective. Just because, like I said, it wasn't set in stone really yet. Like the stuff that got selected for the Silmarillion was after he had died. So but I do want to read The Fall of Gondolin because I know that in like the Silmarillion is a fucking amazing part of that book. I can't explain Tom Bombadil either. I don't know what the fuck. There is some really good Tolkien channels, like YouTube channels out there that go into all this kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure there's a Tom Bombadil video out there. I haven't seen it, but I've seen like a thumbnail for it. Might be something to check out. Where can I get that hat? You can get it on the internet, bro. Just look up Anti-Hero. It's a skateboard company originally. I used to fucking love them when I was a kid, and now I'm an adult. I don't skateboard anymore, but I thought it was kind of funny just because I'm so into fucking anti-hero, great, morally great characters. It was like, why the fuck? I'm totally rocking this anti-hero hat. It's pretty cool. Oh, A Journey for the Pages. In a very basic way, I've described him as Tolkien's way to include pacifism into the story. Gotcha. I was mad at season 8 because I felt they did Tyrion dirty as hell in terms of how he was written. Yes, I will admit that. That is something his character did just seem to fucking flounder. Like they just didn't know what to do with him. They really did a lot of hard work and fucking making him a badass character, and just like, it does suck. He was mishandled. I will agree there. I think I was really caught up in some of the other characters. The Hound to me was like probably my favorite character in that whole show. And so his arc, and just especially that kind of like deal between him and his brother, and just also between him and Arya Stark. Yeah, dude, I cried like a fucking baby. And when he does the little final showdown with a brother in it, oh god damn, dude, it was so fucking good. And what's his name? Rory. Oh god damn, dude, that guy should be in every fucking fantasy movie ever made, man. He's so good, so good. And that's why I'm like, it's shit like that. And also the Theon Greyjoy fucking deal. I saw people talk. I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're talking. Like, I felt like the Theon arc was insane, and how he goes out. That shit made me fucking tear up too. Maybe I'm just some fucking sucker. I don't know. I thought that shit was awesome. The Hound, yes, Mark. Yes, the Hound is the best. The Hound. God damn, I love that character. To tell you the truth, the Hound is one of the main reasons that makes me want to go back and actually give A Song of Ice and Fire another shot. I know that I'll dig that series, but I feel like that the Hound, like watching the Hound on that show, was like, oh, dude, I have got to know more about the Hound. I want more. Rory McCann, thank you. He is fucking amazing. There's a couple actors on that show that, to me, really came into their own, like while in that, like doing that show, and just became amazing fantasy actors. You know what I mean? It'd be cool I guess I'd have to see them in something else to be like overall actors, but as far as in a fantasy production, they were some of the most believable fucking people ever. It was mad real sometimes. Mad real. Yeah, Arya and the Hound, dude. That was like it was like this relationship I didn't fucking expect to kind of happen. And when it did start to happen, it was like, it was that perfect, like kind of honey vinegar, kind of, buddy, almost like buddy cop kind of fucking duo in a ways, hot and ice and fire, man. That's funny. Yeah, song Ice and Fire. You agree with me on Theon? Yeah, I mean, I thought so. I thought it was a very emotional ending for his character. And also, it really was there's a lot of redemption in that moment because he's a fucking character I just wanted to spit on. You want to spit on him, you want to fucking kill him, and then you feel bad for him. And then you're just like, I don't know about that. And then he's redeemed. It's a great character arc. Fucking amazing. Hated Jaime in season 8. Jaime Lannister was also that was the character I fucking hated and then grew to love, mostly because of his relationship with Brianna Tarth. That was what made him like a human, made him not such a scumbag. You know what I mean? Not such a fucking. I feel like incest jokes are low hanging fruit there, so we'll just not even fucking go there. But he's a douchebag. He was a fucking douchebag, and then we see him like a different side of him. Like that's what Brianna Tarth fucking pulls out of him. And all of a sudden, okay, maybe this guy's got an extra dimension to him. And it's just intriguing enough for me to want to fucking tune in and check out. And it just kept kind of going in that direction. We're like, all of a sudden, you're like, a couple episodes later, you're like, dude, I fucking like Jaime Lannister. I think he seems like he's kind of making like he's gonna be a good guy. But newsflash, nobody's a good guy in this world. Overall, though, the problem for me with season 8 wasn't what happened, it's how we got there. It should have been longer, especially with the end result. And I agree. I think that there should have been another season. I think it should have taken longer to fuck. That's, I think, a massive problem with season 8, or at least the ending is it's just like so much. You're just like, all right, we're here, we're at the end, and now Bran's making decisions on how we're gonna run the kingdom from here on out. I was like, what the fuck just happened, dude? Are you fucking for real? That much? You're going to do fucking slam it into 30 minutes? Like, get the fuck out of here. But I also think when you begin to create something that's such a monster like Game of Thrones, it might be an impossible task to end it on a good note. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I also think that might be something that has to do with Martin and dragging his own feet and finishing the fucking story, because he might almost have this weird feeling that he's created such a monster that it's nothing that he can truly keep living up to. Ever further pushing off that fucking act of doing it and finishing. Yeah, the ending's super rushed, which is a shame because it's just an amazing show. If you ask me, just that's the downfall. The rushed ending doesn't sit well. That's an issue I think with a lot of these. Like, fuck, my Wheel of Time to me was a fucking massive pace, like fucking nightmare. It just was like, blah, 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 we're doing this now. Like, blah, blah, we're doing, like, what? Did we just cover like this much like ground in that amount of time? Like, what the fuck just happened there? And then all of a sudden, like, people are falling in love, and I'm not against them like falling for one another, but I'm like, this is pretty goddamn quick. I'm like, you literally were just in love with someone else, or like it seemed like you were. You didn't even know this fucking person 3 episodes ago, and all of a sudden they're the fucking love of your life, where you would give your fucking own life for them. Get out of here. All right. Journey for the Pages. HBO wanted another 3 seasons, but Dan and Dave wanted to finish quick because they were offered Star Wars. I didn't know that. That's fucking bullshit, dude. And I like what's his name? I know everyone hates those guys. They hate him with a passion. But one of them is David Benioff. He wrote that book, City of Thieves, and I love that fucking book. But yes, there should have been more seasons, dude. You needed you took forever to get there, and then you just, we're done. Like, look at all this nuance. Like, but then when it comes to the ending, you're just like, done. Like, it is bizarre. It's the most like crazy, like elaborate, scheming, nuanced show that just wraps itself up in lightning speed all of a sudden. You're like, all right, fuck me. Okay, it's over. Oh, Jesus. Bran was the biggest waste of story. Why was he even there? The shade. I have to admit, I did not enjoy Bran's parts as much as others, though there were times where I did kind of really dig Bran's story. Mostly when he was like beyond the wall, like in the wilds or whatever, and he was fucking on the search for the fucking people or the dude that was all caught in the roots of the tree. And, there was a lot of magical shit going on there. So I enjoyed that because it felt like this fucking fantasy quest that Bran was going on. The rest, man. Oh, although I will say, there is that line, and it might be the very last episode, or maybe second to last. It's somewhere near the end of the whole show, where fucking Bran and Jaime Lannister are in the same room, and Jaime says something and Bran looks at him and is like, the things we do for love or some shit like that. It's like the same thing that Jaime Lannister said when he pushed his ass out the window as a child. That, to me, that was such a gangster moment. And I really appreciated it. That was like, fuck, dude, Bran is fucking Bran's bringing it. And he's so like stoic when he said, like, it's almost like, no, he's like, he's saying it, but it's almost like he's not even saying it for revenge or for kicks. He's just saying it. Ben Brown, the actor who played Bran, wears glasses, so they had him had him just staring off into nowhere with blurry vision. Damn, that sucks, because I that's how, like, if I take my contacts out, and I don't have frames on or something, I'm not going to see very far in front of me. So it'd be like that. I understand what that would be like. You're just hearing everybody and everything's just like blurry. I want to see what happens with Bran in the book. Where was all the warging that happened in the books? I don't know. I saw Bran in London last week. Oh, what? That's cool. Kyle Hoagland. Hey, man, have you read The Bound and the Broken by Ryan Cahill? No, I haven't. I haven't read anything by Ryan Cahill, but he is an author that is on my radar. Jon Snow was not done justice either. My man is medieval Anakin. Yeah, Jon Snow kind of got shafted through that whole the whole thing. The whole thing was just one big dickin' to fucking Jon Snow. Gotta tell you, now thinking about it too, is like the mental fortitude that fucking man must possess to have everything that unfolds in that story to unfold, and for him to end up where he ends up and to not just be slitting his own throat. Good on you, Jon Snow. You're a better man than I. Jon Snow, how to assassinate a character. Yeah. I guess that's the thing. I guess maybe I need to go back and rewatch that. And that's the thing. There is a lot of threads. There's a lot of characters in this show. The scope is big. So it can be kind of easy to get wrapped up in some and kind of miss what's going on with the others. Or you're not paying close enough attention to see the problems because you're still focusing on or thinking about the good shit. Because it can go either way where you miss the good shit because you're focusing on the bad. But that can happen with me. I am guilty of finding a part that I love so much. The rest kind of like, I don't pay enough attention to criticize some of the other stuff because I'm so like over through the moon or whatever, through the roof about, whatever XY aspect. Loved when the blackfish told off Jamie on the castle bridge. Don't want it. Stephen Burnett in the books, characters warg into animals, kind of project their consciousness into an animal and see from their eyes. That's cool. Kind of like Beastmaster, sort of like where he sees. Well, I guess he doesn't put he just sees through their eyes. That's what I mean. I kind of like I guess took like I guess because I watched Beastmaster, that's why I kind of like Bran and the Raven or whatever. It was kind of. Euron was done the worst. Yeah, he was just emo pervert. Yeah, they do really make him out like he's just so like his main motivation is banging the queen or like get the fuck out of here. Like, but you got to understand too, I haven't read that far into that series, so there's a lot of shit that I don't know how fucking wrong. You know what I mean? If I did read all the books, I'd be like, this is egregious. I fucking can't stand this show. I don't know. I probably would. Yeah, I mean, it's very. I mean, I think we're pretty lucky whenever the characters or source material does get done justice. I mean, if we really take a step back about, guys, and it could seem like a modern problem, but think about it. Ever since things have been being adapted, how often have changes been made? Things been twisted or turned or swapped, and people not liked it. This has been going on forever. Even the most faithful movie adaptations are still like forced to change things for whether it's pacing problem, whatever. There's no way to 100% adapt a book into the movie. You got to change a little bit here and there. There are some brilliantly faithful adaptations, like Interview with the Vampire, the movie, is one of the most faithful adaptations I've ever seen from a book to a film. But still, things are fucking changed. And still, people will find a way to get mad about that. It's like an impossible goddamn task. Yeah, Alfred's like, it's much quieter last time. Did you put your kids outside? No, my kids are gone. My kids are like 6 hours away from me right now. It sucks. I miss them, but they're in school. They're with their grandma, and I will be meeting up with them in a couple days. We're just doing the last bit here at the house. I know it looks like everything's kind of the same, but you got like this house is like everything else is like all boxed up. I've been putting this off for a minute just so I could try to shoot a couple reviews and stuff, which didn't really work out. I did get one out yesterday. You guys might have caught the Swords Trilogy review, but then I wanted to just do this live chat real quick before I box everything up. This will be the last bit I can do here at the house. And yeah, we're off into new stuff. But yeah, it's quiet because there's no kids. The two kids that are still here, my son's, one's, a teenager, and he's very good at like, he's just a good kid and he keeps to himself. And my baby's down for a nap. So we're lucky. Very quiet. Very, very nice. Zara's asking, she's reading Watchmen and it's phenomenal. And have I read it? I'd love it. I haven't read Watchmen. I've seen the movie. I started watching the TV show, which I thought was pretty cool. And that's it. I have not read the comic. I do like Alan Moore. I think that he's one of those guys that is he's a fucking powerful creative. He's got a very imaginative fucking creative mind on him. He's an interesting dude, but the stuff that he creates is stuff that I'm definitely willing to sign up for. Yeah, and adaptations are insanely hard. I don't know how you guys feel about the new Dune movie, and I know it's only half of the book, but there's some changes there, and I still really love that movie. I thought the new Dune movie exciting and like people are like, oh, it's so boring. I'm like, have you read the fucking book? As much as I love the book, the first half is not exactly the most fucking enthralling. There are some things that go down that make like bits of it exciting, but there's a lot of like setup, a lot of shit that is dude, that movie captured atmosphere and everything of that story so well. It just drew me in and I was fucking sucked into it, dude. So yes, a brilliant fucking adaptation as far as I'm concerned, but still changed shit. You got fucking the sci-fi channel did the Dune series, and they even call it Frank Herbert's Dune. Well, guess what? It's not Frank Herbert's Dune because they changed shit in that too. A lot of people just say, oh, it's just the problem with Frank Herbert's sci-fi Dune is that it just didn't have the money for the production value. That's not just the only problem with it. The problem is they changed things. So it's no longer Frank Herbert's Dune. It's Sci-Fi Channel's version of Frank Herbert's Dune. So it's just, that's what I'm saying. That to get 100% adaptation is impossible. You've got to change some stuff. You're going to change some stuff. It's just going to happen. I really kind of am a little miffed, though, about the changes in the fucking Frank Herbert one, the sci-fi one, because everyone talks about how faithful it is. But then it's like, well, they gave Duke Leto's dialogue, his lines, one of his lines to Lady Jessica. And I don't fucking care because I love Lady Jessica too. But Duke Leto is already here and gone so quick. And he's such an integral part truly to the story because he's such an integral part to Paul that it seems asinine to eject one of his fucking lines. You should be keeping every goddamn little bit that you can, in my opinion. I am super stoked for this survival game. I don't give a fuck. It's a multi-massive online player. I'm on board for that. And I'm like, let's start a fucking clan. We'll be running like Fremen in the desert, catching worms, guys, and fucking just kicking ass, raiding motherfuckers, taking their water. I'm saying. Elder Scrolls. Fuck yeah, Dan. Watchmen is really good. Cool. I'm probably going to have to pick it up. I do dig me some comics, especially ones that are more adult and, you know, cool. I love the Watchmen book, though I thought the TV show really expanded on that world. Cool. Yeah, I like the show. I only watched an episode, though. I need to get back into it. Hey, Mike. What's going on, Mr. Mike? Good to hear from you. This is it, brother. We're here. We're doing it. We're going live. V for Vendetta sucked me into. Read that in a day. Moore is a genius. I love V for Vendetta. Yes. That's where I think that might have been like where I was like, I really dig this dude and what he's doing. And yes, I do like the adaptation too. I like V for Vendetta as in like the adaptation. Lady Jessica was the weakest thing in the movie for me, like the actress, but didn't like the depiction of the character. Was that in the newest version? You didn't like Lady Jessica in the newest version? I'm going to tell you guys something. I'm just going to admit it. I was having a hard time when I went into Dune. I was so fucking on board. And then the actors kind of started opening their mouths. And I'm not fucking like this. I don't try to take a political stance. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's like a slight one I might take here or there. But I try to stay out of a lot of the PC bullshit and all that. But I got fucking pissed when I heard an actress basically saying like, oh, we had to make some changes to make, to make the woman characters like, more like realistic to today's standards. Like as if fucking Frank Herbert didn't write competent, capable, strong female characters. And to top it off is this woman criticized this shit and was saying, oh, these changes needed to be had because this is outdated material and the women weren't handled correctly. And she never even fucking read the book. She even admitted it. And I'm like, you didn't even read the fucking thing? And you're chiming in? This grated at me so bad. I had to wait. I was just like, dude, I got to like calm down off this anger. like this bitch. Like, just don't open your mouth if you're to criticize something you have no fucking clue about. It doesn't make any sense. And it just makes you look like a fool. And somebody like me that sees that is like, ah, damn it, now you've kind of ruined it for me, because I'm like, the one, like, you play one of the fucking most powerful female characters in all fiction, and here you are complaining about how things needed to be changed to better fit the fucking role. I'm like, get out of here, dude. It just bugged me. But while watching it, I was able to kind of put that, grind my teeth, put that kind of feeling away and just watch the show. And I enjoyed everybody's performance. I felt like the weirding way, like when she used her fucking, the weirding, like it was scary. Like the voice modulating or whatever they did during that moment, like it was the most horror like version of the weirding fucking like that I had ever fucking heard. And I dug that. I have to admit, I was like, oh fuck. Goddamn. Like when she fucking like talks to the pilot or whatever, like it feels threatening. And I dug that. But yeah, going into it, man, I was pretty pissed off at the people that were just talking about something they had no fucking clue about. And once again, it's, I'm biased because I have personal, skin in the game. I dig the source material. I love it, right? So I'm attached to it. So I'm a little bit more defensive. It's bizarre because the women in Dune are strong, capable individuals. Yeah, that's the thing, dude. That is the thing. It's one of the things that I praised Frank Herbert for doing. When I read this book, I read it in like 2019 when I finally got around to reading Dune. And the first, like the massive, like besides it just being a kick-ass story and cool as fuck, one of the biggest surprises to me was just how the female characters were handled and how they were, like I said, just competent, strong, well-written characters. And this was back in the 60s? Not exactly a time where female characters were being written as super strong and like, being able to fucking handle their own. Not even in the fucking real world was this being really, like considered a thing. They're still being fucking come down on pretty hard. All right. So for Frank Herbert to do this is pretty massive thing. And for then someone to turn around and kind of like stomp all over that or just not acknowledge it and try to place their own shit in place is scumbag shit. And trust me, I know scumbag shit. I'm a fucking scumbag. All right. I can hear my son. He's waking up from his nap. I'm gonna have to end this pretty soon, guys. Stephen Mapes. Oh, Mr. Mapes. Everybody say hi to Mr. Mapes. To those that don't know, I love that man. He is one of the good ones. There's not a lot of good humans out there, but he's one. I love you, Steve. I wanted to come down and visit you guys so bad, but we got caught up packing all this shit. I didn't even get down there to see Billy or nobody. It is what it is, brother. I need to give you a call, though. All right, let's see. Jessica is too emotional in the movie when she is in the Bene Gesserit when she is a Bene Gesserit badass. They control their emotions to the molecular level. Yeah, and this is stuff like if you're going to play that role, you would think that it'd be in your interest to read the book so you better understand the character that you're portraying. I get it. It's not a requirement because you could listen to the direction of the director and do your fucking job off of that. But it would seem it's just as big of a thing that Dune was to be that everybody. I mean, I'm sorry. If I'm the director, I'm making it a requirement for all of you to read the book. It's not that fucking hard. Read it. You know what I mean? Like, we're paying you millions of dollars. Read the fucking book. Then we'll get into fucking production. like, I'm pretty sure Peter Jackson, this is I heard, and I don't know if it's true, but I heard Peter Jackson made like in one of the battles, he made sure that everybody that was on the front line were actors that had read the source material, so they understood like how big of a moment that they were actually participating in was. And that is brilliant. And you're going to capture all the shit you need to capture with that kind of fucking thinking, man. You put the people that love this shit up front and center, people that understand it. You know what I mean? And if they don't understand it, helped them. And yeah, I feel like if maybe this actress would have understood like just how powerful she was, might have been a different deal. I'm starting to run into issues like the same thing I'm seeing with the Rings of Power thing and Galadriel, because they're like, I still really know what the fucking show is about, but what they're giving us is this thing, right? So you see Galadriel, she's mourning her brother, and they go into this thing where it's like, okay, so now her motivation is revenge. She is now single-minded and wants to like fucking wreak havoc on whoever, you know, the forces that fucked up her brother. Now, this is character assassination big time, guys, because you're basically saying that now Galadriel's so like hot-headed that she's going to be fucking put into a single-minded fucking like a way of life, that she's going to buckle down on revenge because her brother got killed. You know how many other fucking elves died? How many other fucking brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers died along the way? This is not a unique thing, and it doesn't matter that fucking Finrod was fucking who he was. It wouldn't matter because there's still other epic people dying at rapid rates all throughout history. So for her to be like, oh, but this case is special, is also very arrogant and not a fucking attribute of Galadriel or really the fucking elves. It's weird. It's crazy. That's the kind of shit. So like, yes, like you're saying, like Lady Jessica wouldn't be that emotional. She literally spent all this time like fucking controlling all this shit. This is like they're so stoic. In fact, also we're so far in the future that not just the Bene Gesserit, just people in general are fucking stoic, because we're just that far from removed from where we are today. Timothy Chalamet, Paul, said he read Dune multiple times in a few interviews, and I think it showed. I will say this. Timothy Chalamet looks like Paul to me. Like when I like the description, especially when it comes to Paul's hair in the books, like being that like mess of coal or whatever that like Herbert describes it as. Fucking Paul's hair in the books is pretty much goddamn identical to fucking the way they did it like with Timothy Chalamet. I think he's the best Paul as far as like obviously. I mean, the other actors were much older, so Timothy Chalamet looked. Actually, you know what? He might. I don't know how old was it. Kyle. Was it Kyle McLaughlin? Whatever the fucking 86 or whatever actor. I don't really know how old he was, but he definitely looked older. And then the sci-fi version, dude, that guy was way too goddamn old to be playing a young Paul. So yes, Timothy Chalamet looks the part so fucking goddamn much. It's eerie. I believe it. I believe he's fucking Paul. And yes, I believe you read the books, because I do think it shows. I just don't understand how you're not going to read the goddamn book when you're fucking getting paid millions of dollars to portray a character in it. What kind of asinine fucking... I don't know why I'm getting shit. I should just let it go, man. No big deal. Just shit. Just shit in the world, man. Flush and keep going. It feels like they saw Galadriel in the Hobbit movies and decided to write a fan fiction about her. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's a lot of people's deal. And the thing is if you're trying to make Galadriel tough by making her basically a dude, like, and I know that's what you're doing though. You're taking away like where she was kind of like this graceful gal, like portrayed by was it Cate Blanchett, that the much more like graceful portrayal, right? And maybe more close to what we've read in the books. Now, there's a lot of shit that get like doesn't really go into, so we don't know that Galadriel never put on fucking armor and shit. And to tell you the truth, the descriptions of Galadriel are not necessarily, don't really line up with Cate Blanchett all the way either. In fact, I'd say that fucking Galadriel is supposed to look a little bit more like Brienne of Tarth. She, like, her mom even called her like man maiden or some shit like that. So yeah, it's weird though. Like, you're trying to take this character that is known for being very graceful, but also very intelligent, just thoughtful, all these like just brilliant attributes. And now you kind of like chop those down so you can make a badass. And I love a badass, but that doesn't, it seems like you took away much harder, like earned attributes for the very simple one. You know what I mean? Hacking and slashing, all one's got to do is learn how to swing a sword and stay in shape. But to be a like patient, understanding, like trustworthy fucking person takes a lot of goddamn effort. Okay, trust me. Do you like dystopian novels? 1984, Brave New World, Animal Farm, or anything like that? I haven't really read that many. I mean, I guess the closest thing I read to it was The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I really like that book, though. It's not like a book that it's dark. It's depressing. That's the fucking word. It's depressing. It's good though, so it's not like I don't want to like scare people away. Like, oh, it's depressing. Don't read it. Read it. But yes, it's depressing. As it should be. It's a fucking apocalypse. Fucking things are not good. If everything was going good and cozy, I'd be like, well, apocalypse doesn't seem that bad. Let's have one. Oh man. Let's see, the guillotine around the corner. I am not expecting the worst, so I'm not 100% disappointed. That's the best way to probably go in. But then again, I am not going to entertain it if it's awful as it's turning out to be. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I even if I do this like split review deal, I'm still going to be honest. Even from the fantasy side, you know what I mean? Maybe not be a fan of Tolkien, but if I see something that just doesn't fucking feel right or it just sucks, call it as a season. Also, I don't know how you stand up to Cate Blanchett's performance as Galadriel. So yeah, Cate Blanchett did an amazing job. Honestly, like how she portrayed. Like I said, maybe her physical appearance, just to me, might be a little bit more like I don't know. She just like Cate Blanchett's super beautiful. Like she looks like a woman. For some reason, I always thought of Galadriel like a little mannish, but that's like once again, we all probably pulled something different from there. But how she fucking was, right? Like how she conducted herself around other people, and even by herself, was very much the character. That was the Galadriel that I know of from reading the pages. It's weird too. I noticed this. What they've done and what it looks like is they've switched Elrond and Galadriel. Okay, so now Elrond is he's essentially, I don't want to say statesman, but he's kind of leading from more of a political kind of standpoint, though I hate to say politics as well. That just doesn't feel right in Middle Earth, but it's kind of what he's doing. It seems like I don't know. It's weird. He's doing what Galadriel essentially did throughout fucking the history, and she's doing what he did. Like, I don't like the fucking being the leader of the commander of the fucking Gilgalad's army. Like, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty fucking sure that's Elrond. So they're just like, nope, yoink, that's hers now. And this is that shit, guys. This is the stuff I'm telling you. Like, I'm not trying to play into any kind of PC fucking political bullshit here. I try to stay as neutral as I possibly can, but it's a little weird when you're doing like, nah, we're just going to take this shit from this guy and just keep like giving it to this one character that we're really trying to prop up. And while you're propping them up, what you're really doing is destroying the very strong characters that they originally were. It's a weird choice. It's a weird choice. It's also weird to me, I guess, because as a guy, I see there's a lot of criticism. You know what I mean? Like, guys are not necessarily the most welcome people on the planet anymore. In fact, if you show any sign of masculinity, it's deemed toxic. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, whoa, us white men. Because we've had it pretty goddamn good. But it just is weird when your idea of making a woman powerful is making her like a man. That does not register to me as making someone powerful. In fact, you would think because we are being kind of like deemed toxic and just not good, like that you would want to stay away from that you wouldn't want to portray your character like that. But that's not how it goes. It's the weirdest shit ever. You say that these people are these toxic masculinity, but then you make a woman masculine and it's fucking awesome. And we should all be on board. Come on, dude. Can we not fucking just critically think about that for a minute? It's a little weird. Yes, and Celeborn. Where the fuck is Celeborn? If I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm sorry. Let me read. So yeah, she says, wait, Celeborn is dead? Who the hell was her husband in the movies? So yeah, no, Celeborn was in the movies. He was in the movies. Very little, but he was there. And that's kind of a big deal to take out of the situation. And I don't know if he's been taken out of the situation because we haven't seen the show. So we're making a lot of assumptions. But from these like little tidbits that they're giving us, okay, so you get Galadriel, and then she's like hanging out with this new character that they created, Halbrand. And I'm kind of sneaking suspicion kind of thing that they're going to try to cook up some kind of romance between the two of these characters. Which, if they do, it's going to be bullshit. A lot of bullshit, in fact. And surely you're going to start seeing some fucking flaming arrows shooting from the Tolkien fans. It's not going to look... I mean, you're really going to be fucked up then. Because then basically what you have done is just made such a shallow character. You made like a warrior, fucking strong girl who falls for fucking cute boy. If that's what happens, because that is the equivalent of like some really low budget TV network like writing. Really poor. Like so outdated, outdone, just bad. And if that's what happens, I will light the fucking fire, dude. I will. You will see the fucking fire. Ooh, because that's bullshit. Because it's garbage. I don't know. Maybe I just need to chill out. I'm gonna have a heart attack watching the Rings of Power. You motherfucker! Slowly Red channel is canceled indefinitely due to idiot that fucking can't control his own anger. Oh, this is good. Yeah, Steven, who we even know, who we all know who Halbrand is. Yeah, we do kind of, right? Is it Sauron? Is that the fucking deal? Are they going to sneak him in and he's Sauron? And that's the reason why I kind of coming up with this theory. Halbrand is Sauron. There's this little relationship that happens between Galadriel and him. And then it comes out that he's the fucking bad guy. And oh no, I'm conflicted because I actually had feelings for this person. Like, if that's the fucking YA route that they go, I'm going to fucking turn into a Balrog and fucking I will become Durin's Bane and just start cracking that fucking whip on the internet. No, I won't, but it's cool to sound tough, right? I'm an idiot. Oh, and then so I also wanted to read this. So Books with Zara said, I really hope that there's not going to be sex and nudity in it. Don't care if there isn't any in Game of Thrones, but in Tolkien adaptation, it's wrong. And I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree. It's not what's in the stories. It's not like how Tolkien delivered his world and characters to you. It wasn't like that. That's a different, yeah. I'm okay with that. Which is funny, but because it seems like you're like trying not to kind of go there or whatever. But nah, I mean it does kind of make sense that it doesn't really belong in Tolkien stuff because the like sex bit is so not it's not, the story is not about sex or sexuality really at all. Is there love in there? Yes. And that's what it should, you know what I mean? Like, it never really steps outside of love. This is not like seducing, you know, like, oh, it's characters fucking love and care about each other. And and a sex scene would be very cheap. But guess what? I don't know. I don't think that there's going to be any nudity in it, but I guarantee you there's going to be the like, what do you call it? Like implication. You know what I mean? Like the kind of kissing, maybe like getting close to one another, laying on the ground, and then we're, you know, soft music. Cut to next scene. I should be a director. All right, Sean, 77. Not sure who their target audience is for the show, but I feel it's not me. Won't be watching. Love the books. So good on you, Sean, if that's your stance. Like I said, it is silly if you're somebody that is so mad, like, because you love the books and you're mad about what they're doing. It's a little silly to go and watch the show because you're really only going to help them. So just know that. I mean, if you're going to fucking take a stance, I feel like that's the way to do it, man. You know, just don't watch it. Fucking cherish the source material that is out there and that is true to you, and then you don't fucking gotta deal with anything else. You know, just don't watch it, because it might just lead you into this thing where you're just gonna hate it no matter what. So now you're wasting time on being mad, pissed off, bitter. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say there could probably be better things to do with your time. I would think. Though being bitter can be fun. Sorry guys, I've been getting over a cold, man. It's been tough. I don't know if it's just getting older. I'm getting weaker at fighting these things off, but it's been shitty. Mark, we could be overly angry together. Yes. Oh man. I admittedly like YA, but you keep that away from Lord of the Rings. Yes. Yeah, look, I talk a little shit about YA, but at the same time, there are actually things about YA I like. I like that they are stories that are designed to kind of not bog down the reader. There's like a pacing that is very YA. You could have a book with all the fucking adult themes in the world, but it could contain a YA pacing, which is just plot point, plot point, plot point. We're getting through this motherfucker and we're done. I'm not against that though, because I think that struggling readers need that shit. If they're struggling with exposition, just dense writing, like something like Baker, as much as I love it, it's not something I would give somebody that's struggling. And there's so many people out there that don't read at all because they think it's a fucking chore. But if they got their hands on something that was rapid and just hitting them and getting them through, boom, all of a sudden they get to the end and they're like, dude, that was pretty cool. And I read. Like, whoa, I didn't know reading could be cool. Boom. We got another one on the team. So I try not to talk too much shit about YA because there's some good things about it. But it's not my demographic. I'm 40 years old. I want older characters. In fact, most of the time my gripe with characters anymore is just that there's so many young protagonists in stories, because that's the hot thing. That's the deal. Like people, like there's more younger readers than there is older readers. It's in your best interest, especially if you're trying to get traditionally published or sell books, to feed the masses, right? So you give younger characters, you know, a little, maybe sometimes younger like themes, or just I'm not here to hate on that. I just personally want to see the fucking old folks. Like these Academy stories. I would love for an Academy story that's told from the teacher's perspective. Instead of it's all like the Harry Potter adventures, it's just the fucking teacher's perspective, and they're crotchety and tired of showing up to work, and these goddamn kids are pissing them off. That's a fucking story I want to read. I know maybe a lot of other people might not, but that's where my interests lie, in older people and older people problems. This has been fun. Mark, always call you red in my head. It's all good. Keep up the good work. Try to tune in next time. Yeah, brother, I don't know when it's going to be, but like I said, this is kind of like that. We're sending off the studio to the, is there a heaven for studios? Well, this one's going to hell. So we're going to cast it on down to the pit, and we'll start all over once I get the Copper Center and see what that looks like, guys. All right, laters are, yeah, I'm going to have to wrap this thing up anyway, guys. We're just hitting 2 hours. My son is awake, and I got to go tend to that little guy. Otherwise, he might build some kind of resentment towards me. 20 years from now, he'll be like, remember that day that you ignored me for the internet? Yeah, I fucking hate you. They'll be like, yeah, I fucking hate you too, son. Come here. Let's hug it out. All right. Gideon. No, you don't need to chill out. You are probably right about everything in Lord of the Rings. I'm also leaving. Past midnight over here. Yeah, guys, this is a perfect time to be wrapping it up. So thanks, guys. Thanks so much. Thank you so much. Studio Hell. Sounds like a Grimdark production company. Can you just imagine? It's like the studio just goes straight to hell. It's just fucking burning, fucking brimstone. Good luck on the move. Thank you, Steven. Dr. Pup and stuff. Safe travels. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much. You know what? It's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. It's been a pleasure. This whole experience so far has been gone well beyond my expectations. I've met so many cool fucking people. And yeah, so I have all the reason to keep it going. You know, it is a shame that I'll have to, you know, say goodbye to this spot I've grown so attached to. But I'm looking forward to the future and seeing what I can do. Yes, moving does suck. It sucks a lot, but we're going to do it. We're almost there. And I am looking forward to what the new place brings. We're getting out into the middle of nowhere, guys. So I'm going to be surrounded by nature. I got a stream right off my fucking property, 3 acres, farmhouse. I mean, it's going to be the real Alaska lifestyle out there, dude. I'll tell you. But internet, there is internet, God damn it. So that's the first thing. That's my first. It's the first thing I'm doing when I get there. Where's the internet? Hook me up, sirs. And then we'll get started. I'll probably be working out of town at first, just trying to make some ends, and it'll be a little chaotic here. So for a little bit. And then once I get the groove down, we'll be back into a normal schedule, hopefully dropping content on somewhat of a regular basis. Like I said, I got a lot of things going, and I want to make sure that I take care of everything first before I attend to my hobbies, because I am really bad at mismanaging what matters most. I hate people. Hope the moves go smooth. Yeah, me too. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Like I said, this has been awesome. I can't thank you guys enough for being a part of this goddamn channel. You know what I mean? Without you guys, there's not a whole lot of reason for me to keep trying to do it. So your support has made it really easy to continue doing this thing, man. And I'm pretty much on board to keep doing it as long as you guys are on board to keep fucking soaking it in, taking in all my curse words at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Yeah, live in the country as well because people are annoying. Hey, I'm really looking forward to it. I have to admit, I love the city. I love the hustle and bustle of things. I like fast living, but I am ready. I am ready for the fucking woods. I'm ready. Yep. Well, right on, guys. Gosh bless you. And I will see you on the other side. All right. Don't forget to fucking make sure you do some dark and dastardly shit so we can talk about it the next time I tune in. I want to hear some crazy fucking shit. All right. And be prepared to watch me fucking go full conniption fit, possibly have an aneurysm when this fucking Lord of the Rings, fucking Rings of Power show comes out. If I have to fucking film shit on my cell phone just to get it out there, I might do it. I don't give a fuck. So just be ready for all that. Plenty to look forward to, guys. Plenty to look forward to. Until then, I'll miss you. You can catch me on the fucking Discord, and I'm going to be trying to do these discussions with Jimmy over on his channel, as well as just pretty much anybody else that invites me to come have fun. I'm usually down as long as I can squeeze it in the schedule. So, yes, this will be me signing off for now, but not forever. All right? I promise. Right on, guys. Later. I'll leave this up, too. Peace.